We'll start by chanting Om 3 times, followed by the invocation shlokas. Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. As we are doing the Drg Drsya Viveka, let us chant the invocation shloka, the Mangalacharanam. If one of you wants to go off mute and repeat after me, that would be great. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Druk
Rupam Drishyam Loknam Druk
Tadrishyam Druktu Manasam
Tadrishyam Druktu Manasam
Drishyadhi Vrittaya Sakshi
Drishya Vrittaya Sakshi
Druge Vanatu Drishyate.
Druge Vanatu Drishyate.
So in this Mangalacharanam itself, right in the first verse, the author, Swami Vidyaranyaji, brings our attention to Shakha Chandranyaya. It is showing the moon through a stick or a branch, okay, to the consciousness, Sakshi, through the analysis of this Drg Drsya Viveka. When he said Drupam Drishyam Lochanam Druk, from form is the Drishya, the seen, and eyes are the seer. And we know that seen, whatever is seen, is grosser than the seer. Grosser means it's not dirty or something like, not like that. But rather, what grosser means, it is more sthula, meaning more, whatever is seer is there, it is more subtle and more pervasive, okay, more finer, okay. And seeing necessitates the seer. There can be a seer, and when there is a seer, it doesn't mean that a seen must be there. And the seer is independent of what is seen. However, seen is dependent on the seer too. Now, from Sakshi versus Drishya, if you understand that Sakshi or Druk, okay, Druk meaning the seer, the eternal, the final seer is Atma, Satchidananda. So if you think like that, and if you replace the seer and seen with whatever is seen as Drishya, as Maya or world, what happens is that Brahman is always subtler than the Maya Prapancha. Maya Prapancha requires seer Brahman. However, Brahman doesn't require Maya Prapancha and independent of this Maya Prapancha. However, this Maya Prapancha is dependent on Brahman. That's what the focus is. So I'll just repeat what I said before, right? From in terms of seen and seer. Seen is always grosser than the seer. Seer doesn't need the seen. Seer is independent of the seen, and seen is dependent on the seer, though. So this is what he's coming to. And we said that Tadrishyam Druttumanasam, even this eyes become seen and mind becomes seer. Again, it is not a permanent seer, okay? Because all the relative seers in the last session, we said they're called Sapeksha Druk. So they are relative seer. Only Sakshi alone is seer. And it can never become seen. Natu Drishyate. So hence it is called as absolute seer or Nirapeksha Druk. And then we talked about 3 rules. What are the rule number 1 was whatever is seen is outside and seer is within. Whatever is seen is in manifold and seer is 1. Whatever is seen is not going to impact any change in the seer. Okay? While seeing different things in the outside world, the seer remains uniform, ekatha, nirvikara, meaning the seer is untouched by the seen. So this again, those who are studying Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, it says, okay, they are in me, I am in them. Then it says, they are not in me. Then it says, I am not in them. Right? I am independent of them. Right? So this is what this Nirvikara is saying. Okay? So now, then there are certain questions that may come. You know, the seen does not cause any change in the seer. Right? That's what we said. Seen does not cause any change. But you know, like when I see something, the mood of my mind may change from happiness to sad or whatever, right? So for example, I pick up a newspaper and see somewhere there's an earthquake and a lot of people perished and I became sad. So how can you say that the scene did not cause any change in the seer? So the answer is, if I have seen something and have a reaction, whether it's a good reaction or a bad reaction at a mental level, it is not because of the object, because of the fructification, meaning of my previous karma, whether it is papa or punya, or you can call vasanas. Okay, so those vasanas have fructified now, and this scene has impacted, okay, has acted as external agent for fructification of this. For example, someone received a letter and they opened the letter. And of course, the receiver of letter is a college, like a high school student applying for colleges. And the letter said, you are admitted into our prestigious college. Now, immediately, this seer, the boy, is happy, right? But what has caused happiness is not really that letter. Obviously, it appears to be that letter has caused, but his own karmas, his own punya of the past in terms of preparation and everything, up until to that point in terms of application and everything, that has created that result, and this letter is just a external entity for this person's happiness. So whatever is seen is not really creating any change in the seer. Does it make sense? Any questions on this aspect? Okay. Then we also said that in our previous shlokas that this Drg Drsya Viveka, even though we talked about only with respect to the eyes, seer, seen, it is applicable for through all other jnanendriya. So it can be applied through hearing, whatever is heard versus whoever has heard, like hearer, for example, just like seer, you could hearer, okay? Touching versus toucher, like that you can apply through all these five, okay? But Sakshi, when it comes to Sakshi though, pure conscious can never be seen, never be heard, never be touched, never can be smelt, never can be heard, right? All of them. So now there is another question that comes in mind is, why are you so insisting? Why are we insisting that this pure consciousness cannot be seen? Why can't a pure consciousness be seen by another pure consciousness? Now, the answer is, let us say there are two consciousnesses. Okay, let us call them as C1 and C2. Now, C1 is seen by C2. Then E2 also must be seen. Then there should be another C3 which sees C2. Like that, if you keep on going, it is never going to end. So in our Vedanta Nyaya, it is called as Anavastha Dosha. Or in Western logical term, it is logic. It is called infinite regress. Okay, so this is non-plausible. Hence, we say that one consciousness cannot be seen by any other consciousness, but rather there is only one consciousness. Now, there could be another question. Is, I'll say that consciousness is both seer and seen at the same time. What is wrong with it? For example, I hit myself. Now, in this case, both subject and object are same, right? So, who hit me? I. Who saw that? I. So, in this case, what is wrong with both I am the seen and I am seer? Right? So, how do we prove that it is wrong? How do we prove that this question is incorrect? How do we answer this problem?
Seen is outside.
Seen is outside, okay? So I'm saying that I hit myself, so I am both the subject and object, so hence I am both the seer and seen, right? So,
but when you say I hit myself, you identify with the body too. So, and the body is also seen because we see it's also an object that we can see, that we can perceive.
yeah. So what happened is that, as you're saying, as Satyaji is saying, it is one part of the body hit another part of the body, but I am not the body. And the interesting thing that even with respect to hand did not hit itself. Rather, hand hit another hand or another part of the body, a different part of the body, because a part of the body cannot hit its own. Okay. So similarly, even if you say, if a person killed himself, he only killed his current physical body. So this idea that the thing that is seen and seer can be same is not possible.
Bengaji.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm also like remember the question that I don't remember her name, but she was talking about like, okay, why do we say that it's just one consciousness when each one of us has its own consciousness? And I'm going to put it with quotations, right? Because yeah, like we have different vasanas, right? Different perspectives we can say of life. So we believe like, yeah, like each one of us is unique, right? Each one of us is unique. So why it is this like I'm also, I'm also getting it in a sense, like why do we say like, okay, it is just one consciousness? Sometimes when I am reading a book that I really feel like identify with it, I feel like it's my own consciousness, or I can connect with something deeper within myself. I have had that sensation too, like like the author is like somehow understanding, or I am understanding this part of his awareness of consciousness. But at the same time, each one of us has different experiences, right? So why do we say it is just one consciousness?
So, in fact, the book, after two more slokas, I think from verse number 6, it is going to explain that aspect. Right now, what we are thinking as consciousness is not consciousness, but it is ahankara, our ego. The egos are many, consciousness is one. Unfortunately, we think that our ego is I.
Mm.
So that is something that we are going to cover probably, like I don't feel, because it is shloka number 6, I don't know if you are going to get to it today or next session, but definitely 2 sessions from now, we should be covering that.
So just something else, like for example, our likes and dislikes are within this ahankara. This
Our
ego.
likes and dislikes are in our vasanas, which are part of our karna sharira, and they are expressed through our thoughts and come to the presence of our sukshma sharira, which is our mana, chitta, buddhi, ahankara.
Okay.
Okay, so we will chant the next shloka, shloka number 4. So one of you, please repeat after me. So I'm going to break down this shloka first. Kamaha sankalpa sandehau shraddha ashraddhe dhrutitare. Then there's a huge, scary looking word. Okay. Hrehi, dhihi, bhihi, iti, evam, adin. So there are 6 words put together in one. Hrehi, dhihi, bhihi, iti, evam, adin. Bhasayet, ekatha, chitihi. So this is the one. Okay, so please repeat after me. Kama sankalpa sandehau
Kama sankalpa sandeho
Shraddha Shraddhe Dhrutitare
Shraddha Shraddhe Drititare
Dhrir Dhrir Dhirityevam
Prir Dir Bir Ityevam
Adin Bhasayatyekatha.
Adin Bhasayat Ekada.
No, sorry. Dhir Dhir Dhirityevam Adin. Sorry.
Chitti.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. My mistake. Dhrir Dhir Dhirityekvam Adin
Prir Dir Bir Ityevam Adin
Bhasayatyekatha chitihi.
Bhasayat Ekada Chittihi.
So here, now, Kamaha. Kamaha means desire. Sankalpa. Sankalpa means you make a determination or you make a resolution. That is sankalpa. So usually, like when you think about sankalpa, where do you where do you probably heard this word sankalpa before?
When you chant the Gayatri mantra, they had Sankalpa before.
Okay, so whenever you do puja, okay, any puja, you start with a sankalpa. Right? So you take some akshatas and cover it with this and put it on right thigh, and then priest would be chanting something. You are right. So in that sankalpa, what you're saying is essentially, I am performing this for a particular reason. So usually in the sankalpa, what do you say? That I am performing. Who am I? You're going to say, oh, so and so of this gotra, meaning this particular lineage, born on this tidhi, nakshatra, etc. And then you're saying that to we are doing this puja in honor of this particular god, okay, or in this particular form of the god, and then on this particular day at this particular location, and then you say what purpose for, okay, so you say what do you call, like so many vidya, dhanam, dhairyam, buddhi, like that. All like you listed so many things about why you are performing this puja. So, and you say that is why I'm performing this puja. So that is a resolution that you are making to perform this puja right before you are making that one. Okay, so that is where like you see this sankalpa, especially with respect to puja vidhi. However, sankalpa simply means resolution. So kamaha, sankalpa, sandeha. Sandeha means doubt. Okay. So sankalpa, sandeha is there, right? So that is dual. So there is sankalpa and sandeha. That's what that how ending. Okay. So kamaha, desire, sankalpa, resolution, sandeha, doubt. Shraddha means faith. Ashraddha means lack of faith. Dhruti, dhruti means fortitude or patience, and yeah, so that is one. And now, krihi. Krihi means shame. Okay. Dhihi means understanding. Bhihi, bhihi means bhayam. Bhayam means fear. Bhihi iti evam adin. Eva means all of this. Iti eva means all of this. Adin, etc. means, okay. So starting with this and lot more. All of this. Bhasayat ekatha chitihi. Okay. Bhasayat ekatha chitihi means they are all. Bhasayat. Bhasayat means they are all illumined. By what? Chitihi. By here, chiti means usually when again in Indian languages, chiti means what? Sometimes you can understand chiti as funeral pyre. Okay, but in this particular case, it is not funeral pyre, but it is referring to chit, which is consciousness. Okay, so we did a word by word breakdown of the shloka. Now, what does it mean is that all these are listed, they are all there, but they're all illumined by consciousness. So what exactly this author is saying? Remember the big picture. Rupam Drishyam, Lochanam Druk. So from the form, we came to the eye. And we said this eye is relative seer, Sapeksha Druk. Whatever I see, Andhya, Mandhya, like whether it is darkness or Neela, Pita, these things are right. So all the Neela, Pita, Stula, Sukshma, Hraswa, Dirghati, Bedata, all of that, they are seen by one eye, but eye did not get impacted. And all the flaws of this Golaka eye, the instrument eye, which is the physical instrument eye, such as blindness, adhya, andhya, mandya. Mandya is like, eyesight, all of those, they are the function of the physical eye, and the mind is not impacted because of that. Now, if mind has certain things, qualities, then the sakshi, the consciousness is not going to be impacted by that either. Now, what are the qualities of the mind? Those are the ones that are listed here. Kama, Sankalpa, Sandeha, Shraddha, Ashraddha, Dhruti, Dhir, Bhir, etc. So, these are the ones that are listed. So, now where did Swami Vidyaranyaji got all of this list? He got this list from a Upanishad called Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So here again, what happens is that in any material, in any Prakarana Grantha, do you know what Prakarana Grantha is? No? Prakarana Grantha is a derivative text which are explaining some aspects of the essence of the messages of Vedanta or Upanishads. So what are the examples of a Prakarana Grantha? The book that we are studying right now, Drg Drsya Viveka, itself is a Prakarana Grantha. This is something that we discussed in first session. So this, because this is a Prakarana Grantha, this material, again, like entire material is collected from some Upanishad or other Upanishad. So here, this Kama Sankalpa, so Brihadaranyaka Upanishad has a mantra which says Kama Sankalpo, which is Itsa, Shraddha, Dhrutir, Adhrutir, Dhir, Dhir, Ityeva, Tat Sarvam, Mana Eva. Okay, so what it says that, similar list, Kama, Sankalpa, Vichikitsa. Vichikitsa is Kama Sankalpa, Vichikitsa is doubt. Okay, then Shraddha, Ashraddha, Dhruti, Adhruti. So here they have added Adhruti. Dhruti is steadfastness, Adhruti is unsteadfastness, lack of steadfastness. Dhrir, Dhrir, Dhi, Iti Eva, Sarvam, Mana Eva, all of this mind alone. That's what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. So now, and what is this text saying is that all of this is mind alone, and all of this is illuminated by one consciousness. Again, this word ekatha, bhasayati, ekatha chitihi. So ekatha, this word ekatha, I said, right? This will be coming again and again to bring this oneness. So that one chit alone is showing everything, illuminating everything. So let us go to the next. So do you have any questions based on this before we go to the next shloka?
So
Go ahead.
no, it's just they're talking about these different modalities or different, like they're talking.
Yeah, there are different attributes of mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so and so the thing is that if you have the text, right? So what we said is that in shloka number 3, right? The qualities of eyes are not going to impact mind. That is what is said in shloka number 3, right? Andhya, mandhya, patutveshu, netra dharmeshu cha ekatha, right? So now the same concept, the qualities of the mind is not going to impact chiti. That is the flow that the author is bringing.
I see.
Yeah. So the next sloka is, I'll break down the words. No deti. That is actually na udeti. Na plus udeti becomes no deti. Then nasta metesha. Meaning na astim iti sadna astam eti yesha. That is nasta metesha. Na vruddhim yati na kshayam. Swayam. Then there's the word vibhatyatha-nyani. So that is vibhati yatha anyani bhasatyet sadhanam vina. So this is the breakdown of these words. Okay. So one of you want to repeat after me? No deti nasta metyesha.
Nodeti natyamityesha
Na vruddhim yati na kshayam.
na vriddhim yati na chayam
Swayam vibhatyadhanyani
swayam vibhatyatanyani
bhasayet sadhanam vina.
bhasayet sadhanam vina.
Now here, na udeti. Na means negation. Okay, udeti. Udeti means rise. Na udeti means doesn't rise. Nastameti meaning doesn't set, meaning there is no rise or no setting. Now usually we associate rise and setting with sun. There's a sunrise and a sunset. So we say Suryodaya and Suryastamaya. Right? So now, what is this that you're talking about? Na udeti, na astameti, doesn't rise, doesn't set. Yesha. Yesha means this. What is this now? What is this? Okay. What is this? What does this mean here? This is referring to the subject that we are talking right now. Whatever this, when we said Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Druk, Rupam is far. That color, this eye, because color is far, eye is closer. Now, compared to eye, mind is closer. Compared to mind, Sakshi is closer. Compared to Sakshi, there's nothing more closer to us than Sakshi, because we are Sakshi. So this is referring to Yesha. This word Yesha means this. It is referring to that thing that is very close to us. So that means that is referring to Sakshi. Now here, this Sakshi, instead of being called as Sakshi, in our shloka number 4, what was the term used in the previous shloka? What was the term used for Sakshi? The last word in second line was Chiti, right? As consciousness. Because consciousness Chiti is used. So here, instead of Sakshi, we are referring to as Chiti. Okay, so this Chiti, this Chit is na udeti, na astameti. This Chiti or this consciousness doesn't rise or doesn't set. Now, so doesn't rise, doesn't set means what? Okay. Now, as we are talking now, see, like when you came to attend this session, prior to attending this session, something else was going in your mind. Yes? Something else was going in mind. And then that thought is set as in has died down, and a new thought of Drg Drsya Viveka session has rose. When the session ends, the thought of Drg Drsya Viveka session ends and some other thought comes about dinner, about something that is happening in your personal life. All those are coming up. So what is happening is that objects rise and end in our mind. So now, when an object is rising and ending in our mind, what is a prerequisite for that? Is a perceiver. Only as long as there is a perceiver, the objects are rising and ending. If there is no perceiver, there is no such thing as objects rising or ending. So that is why we said every drishya requires a druk, meaning every scene requires a seer. Right? So there cannot be a udaya or astama or unless the object is drishya and only if there is a druk. So only when there is a consciousness in me, only when there is a consciousness is in me, only then an object, a thought is arising in my mind and it is ending in my mind. I am seeing a thing and then as soon, see, I am seeing a pen, okay, and as soon as I bring this mouse, pen has gone into the background and I am seeing mouse, the thought of pen has gone back and the thought of the perception of mouse, pen has gone back and perception of mouse has come up. Like this, what is happening is that whether it is objects or thoughts, all of them are rising and falling. And for this rise and fall of these objects or thoughts, a seer is required. Okay. So now you are let us say, you are sitting in your study room right now, study room or your whatever room that is. Now, when you walk away from this room, everything in that room goes beyond your perception, outside your perception. So what happened? All the objects in that room has set, astama, okay, has fell down, okay, as like they died down. And probably you walk into kitchen, so all the objects in the kitchen has a udaya, has a rise. So now this rise and fall, what could be the synonyms from a Vedantic perspective for this is birth and death. Now, birth is jayate and death is vinashyate. Now, from Tattvabodha, etc., other Prakarana Granthas perspective, what do they remind us of? Jayate to vinashyate. These are referring to 6 types of changes or 6 types of vikaras. We call as Shad vikaras. What are the Shad vikaras? Jayate. Jayate means rise. Asti means temporal existence. Then Vardhate, growth. Then Viparinamate, they go refinements or changes. Apakshiyate, they start decaying. And then Vinashyate, decayed. Right? These are the 6-fold modifications. These 6-fold so they started with Jayate and then they ended with Vinashyate. So here, na udeti, na astameti. When it is said, what does it mean? That means that the first thing is not there, last thing is not there. So in between things are also not there. Right? So that means it is beyond these 6 vikaras. Why is it important? I am sad. When am I sad? When I am sad, what happens? I feel bad. But sadness, was I always sad? Like, am I born with sadness, and is it continually sadness is there in all through my life? No. If sadness has a udaya now, that means sadness is going to have a astama also, death also. But I was there as long as I know. So I am permanent. Sadness is not permanent. So why should I worry about something that is transient? So any situation in this world that we experience, I don't have to be concerned about it and lose sleep over it. Understand that everything is transient. Okay? So that's sometimes what happens is that, hey, what is my takeaway from this? Okay, this is it. So, na udeti, na astam meti, yesha, na vruddhim yati na kshayam. Okay, so, na vruddhim means there is no growth. Na kshayam means no decay. Again, we refer to the six, right? Six shadvikaras. So, now he clearly said, no birth, no death. Now he said, no growth, no decay also. Then I can say, okay, so there's no growth, no decay means there's no change. Okay, so viparinamati also, I get it. Now, remember, if you, especially like if you have studied Tattva and remember those Shadvikaras, what is the one that we still not yet covered in this? We started with birth, and then something we did not cover yet. Then we said growth, change, decay, and death. What is the second one that we did not cover yet?
Change.
Is asti, which is temporal existence. Now, the question is that existence, self is, when we talk about self, Atma is Sat Chit Ananda, right? Sat means existence, right? So this Asti is also existence, Sat is also existence. So Atma has this Asti factor, right? So that is a question that is raised. Then the answer is that the Asti of Sakshi is different from the Astitva that is there for an object. Why? Is the Asti of Sakshi is what we call as Swarupa Asti or Nirvikara Asti. You know what it means is that this existence is without any modification. So the existence is without any modification, whereas the existence of an object is subject to modification. So that is a difference. So these two exist, even the word exist are there. This existence of an object is subject to birth, growth, and it is continually modifying, whereas this existence of Sakshi is without any modification and it is always true. Because again, going back to, because we are covering this book, Drg Drsya Viveka, after a little bit of understanding from Tattva Bodha. You don't have to remember anything from Tattva Bodha, and if you haven't attended Tattva Bodha, that is fine. I'll remind you, I'll bring in those concepts now. Is that the definition of Sat is Trikale Yotishtati Tat Sat, right? So whatever is true across all three periods of time, okay, across all space, that is what is Sat. Now, object's existence, this pen exists. Did this pen exist as is 20 years ago? No, this pen did not exist as is in 20 years ago. It was in a different form. The plastic was in a different form, etc. This probably was created 3 years ago. Okay, so this is a temporal existence, whereas Sat is permanent existence. Okay, now coming back.
Venkati,
Yeah, go ahead.
can I ask?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's very, very simple, but it's just because I'm new to all of this, in a way. So, this knowledge is about, this being eternal and being not changing is totally opposite to what we see in our daily life. Because we see birth, we see change, we see decay, we see death. So for that reason, this knowledge, we need to learn it by shastra, right? Or by a teacher, or the rishis bring this knowledge to us. Because it's like in our regular observations, yeah, we can observe like how things change and how things yeah, are born, and this is
Yes.
the opposite of that.
Yes. So what happens is that that is why, like, I mean, this book, Drg Drsya Viveka, it has like 40 verses. It covers pretty much every aspect of what is truth and what is untruth, and why we see what we see, why we see the changes in this changeless, why we see the changing world in this changeless substratum. All of the topics are covered. So, but now what it is saying is that anything that is changing, okay, that is not true. Okay, so that is what we are trying to get to, and we want to hold on to that changeless thing. So anything that is changing, if that is changing, if you're identifying with the fact aspect of that is changing in other people, and you're identifying yourself with those changing aspects in yourself, and the relationship between that person and me are changing. So I am continually changing, meaning like not as an Atma. As a human being, I'm changing. My mind is changing. My thoughts are changing. My body is changing. You as a human being, all of these are changing. Now, my association with you is also changing over a period of time. So everything is changing from this aspect, everything is changing from that aspect, everything is changing in between. So how can there be any permanency in any of this? Whether it is my relationship with another being, or my relationship with my job, or my relationship with any situation in this world, all of this is the challenging one. But on the other hand, if I identify myself with the unchanging aspect of me, and then I see the unchanging aspect in this entire world, then what happens is this relationship is permanent. And actually, there's no relationship either, because then you will see that oneness, that whatever is in you, whoever you think you are, it is the same thing outside also. This thought is going to come in a step-by-step manner in this book. So all I'm doing is like, probably like telling what you're going to get in the next few sessions.
Thank you.
Okay. So now going to the second line, Swayam Vibhati. Swayam Vibhati means what? It is self-effulgent. It illumines by itself. Okay. Now, what does that mean is, as a seer, for me to see this, my eyes must illumine this object. Okay. So now we have 3 steps, right? Like Rupam, The form, eyes, mind, and Sakshi. So the form is illumined by eyes. Eyes are illumined by mind. Mind is illumined by Sakshi. Sakshi is illumined by, oh, there's nobody else. Because Sakshi is not illumined by anybody else. However, Sakshi in turn is illuminating everything else. We say that this Sakshi is self-illumining. So, that sounds good, but don't you think that sun is self-luminous? Okay. So how does this argument hold? You see sun, nobody else is illuminating sun. Do you need a torchlight to see sun? No. Vedanta says, so Vedanta's perspective is different. It says, sun is illuminating, yes? Yes. How do you know? How do you know that sun is illuminating? Because I see it. Because I see sun. So that means your eyes are illuminating that sun. In the absence of your eyes, you don't know the sun is self-illuminating. Your eyes are the one that is illuminating sun, which in turn is illumined by mind and eventually Sakshi. Remember the first day we talked about a philosophical conundrum in Western culture, like Western tradition, is if a tree fell in forest and nobody heard it, did it make any sound? Remember?
Yes.
And we addressed it from a pure sound waves perspective as well as from a seer-seen perspective, as perspective of hearer, like a listener. If there's nobody, then is there a sound? If there is nobody to hear it, is there a sound? Right? So the Vedanta is taking similar line. So what it is saying is that even if sun you think is shining, unless you see it, the shining is
Not there.
your seeing of sun is what is actually illumining the sun, and that itself is illumined by mind, in turn is illumined by Sakshi. So only Sakshi alone is self-luminous. Everything else is illumined by Sakshi. And ata anyani bhasyayet. Mean what? Because the nature of the Sakshi is Swayam Vibhati, self-illuminant, it is going to illuminate everything and nothing else is there to illuminate. And then, now how about this illuminating? Is it like illuminating with any support? No, it doesn't require any support to illumine. So, sadhanam vina, without any instrumentation, without any assistance, this is illumining. I don't understand this part. Explain. Okay. When we say eyes are illumining sun, or at least let us say, forget about sun. If eyes are illumining Shobhaji, if my mind is not there, would I recognize Shobhaji?
No.
Okay. If I am sitting in a party of 100 people are there and Shobhaji was walking in front of me and she's probably walking towards me, but my mind is somewhere else, and she comes and like puts both hands on her thing and she's looking at me and I am fully like engrossed in something else, and she yells, Venkat. Oh, okay. So what happened? My mind was there. Sorry, my eyes were there. My eyes are grasping Shobhaji's form, okay, walking and everything, but my mind wasn't there. So Shobhaji is not recognized by me, right? So what happened is here, in this case, even though the eyes were there, it required the assistance of mind. Okay. So that illumination there, it required help of something else. Similarly, mind also, if my mind was alert, if I closed my eyes, if Shobhaji came in front of me, I wouldn't have recognized either. Right? So mind also required assistance of eyes, etc., and the presence of consciousness, etc. Whereas in terms of consciousness, it doesn't require assistance from anything else. It illumines everything that is in front of it, any and every thought. That is what the nature of Sakshi. So this, because we say Sakshi, right? The definition of Sakshi is Sakshat Ikshate, meaning it can see directly without any help. Now, when we say something like this, okay, we are almost time, okay? Let's conclude with this one objection. If someone is blind, how can you say Sakshi illuminates a form? Okay, because Sakshi is illuminating everything you said. Now, this guy is blind. Now, in front of this blind person, there is a big dog. So how is Sakshi illuminating this big dog? Okay, without any help.
The ears.
Sorry?
This one. By the ears, the other sense.
No, the idea is Sakshi is always illuminating. Whether it is perceived by the mind or eyes is dependent on the presence or the presence or the availability of those individual instruments. Okay, individual instruments means golakas. See, the physical eyes are not there. That is not, that is a problem for mind. For Sakshi, that illumination is there.
Venkat?
Yes.
But I understand what Shobhaji said. Like, it makes me think about, like, he is aware of the existence of other things, and he's aware of noticing this presence by other senses as well. So even though he's blind, he's still aware. He has a consciousness, or yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know how to integrate it with the self-luminous here.
Yeah. So the self-luminous, okay, understand that like you see, there is a electricity gives power. Yes. It gives energy. Electricity gives energy. Now, if electricity is coming into a plug point, however, the instrument there, the bulb, if it is 60 watts, then the power that comes out of that bulb is 60 watts illumination. If it is 100 watts, the power that comes out of that bulb is 100 watts. Electricity did not change. It is same 110 volts or 240, whatever, depending on the your country. Now, if the bulb is dead bulb, as in like the bulb is burnt out, now there is no light in the room. Does it mean that electricity is a problem? No. Electricity is still flowing to that socket. It is giving still that same output of 110 volts. However, the bulb there it has a problem that has nothing to do with electricity. So that is the idea. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts before we close for the day? Okay. So now what we are going to do is that from the next session, actually, the question that you asked, Satyaji, that is going to be addressed. I mean, the foundation for that question is going to be laid in next session. The idea that what this is Sakshi looks to be all encompassing and changeless. And how am I seeing all this changing stuff all around me? So for that is going to be addressed. The way it is going to say is that what is the difference between Sakshi and our Ahankara? Because the reality is that our Ahankara is also inert. Ahankara is also material. It is inert. Mind is also inert. Intellect is also inert. But they all appear to be conscious. They all appear to be sentient. How does these inert objects appear to be sentient? Okay, so that is what is going to be addressed first. And then once, how did they gained sentiency? Once that is covered, then the concept of Maya is talked next. And like that, it goes on, okay, and addresses one at a time. And then what is the relationship between Maya and Sakshi? Meaning, what is the different relationship between Maya and Brahman? And how do we see Maya everywhere in this world? And how do we see Brahman everywhere in this world? All of that is taught in a step-by-step logical manner. So this book takes uses a lot of logic in this explanation, so that all our questions are properly addressed, so that we go to the next step without any questions. However, if you have questions at any time, please feel free to stop me and ask me. Don't think that, oh, it must have been covered in a few sessions ago. I don't want to ask that. Don't feel like that. Okay. So shall we close? Oh. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।